Okay, the game that I would like to review today is Battle Hymn, Volume 1, Gettysburg and Pea Ridge, published by Compass Games, and it just came out in March 2018. And it's designed by prolific designer Eric Lee Smith, the man who gave us the Civil War some years ago from Victory Games. Now, unfortunately, I don't have my copy. I'm just waiting to play this game. So what I did was download the computer version of it. It's also called Battle Hymn Gettysburg, and it's produced by the Slytherin Studios and the Shenandoah Studios. Now I'm running this on a Lenovo laptop computer, so bear with me. It loaded fine, no problem. I downloaded it, seems to play fine. And we'll take a look at some of the screens and see what this game is all about. I'll set up the campaign game here, and it's quite nice looking. And one thing I do like, I'll take the Confederates here. And the map is pretty well a direct translation of the board game, I suppose. I've compared the maps and they look very similar. Of course, the computer version does not have the hexes on. That's the one nice thing about that. The game looks quite nice. And we'll pause for a minute and I'll show you some of the screens. Now I've zoomed out here to give you an idea what the map's like. As you can see, it's a direct translation from the board game. Over here, I hope you can see this on the screen. Yeah, that's elements of the 1st Corps coming up the Emmitsburg Road. Of course, over here on the left, we've got Devon and Gamble and Caliph's Battery. And just down here on the edge, very bottom of the screen, is Archer and Davis. Just scan over a little bit there and show you those. They give you some information: Archer's Brigade Experience, Davis, Raw, and you can scroll up and down when you have lots of units. Now, one thing I love about the game is the interface. It's very, very easy. They've done a very good job in the interface. There's no manual that I can see. I just booted it up and started playing right away. It's very intuitive. You're more or less right-clicking or left-clicking or scrolling. And you can scroll in at your leisure. We'll just zoom in there. And see if we can see the Devon and Gamble a bit better. There we go. Yeah. So you've got good scrolling options. You can zoom out if you need to see the big picture. So I'll just do a few moves and I'll show you some of the neat graphics and sounds that go with the game. So what we'll do is do the old click on Archer on the upper left, and we'll zoom in a little bit. And all you do is just literally shows you the path. So I want to go straight up the pike, so I've selected him. Just select that space, click on it, and the unit starts marching up. No problem at all. Archer, I take it each of these little 4 boxes actually represent regiments. We'll zoom in on there. Here we go. And we'll pick Davis. Pick Davis. He has the same options. We'll go straight up the pike. All you do is left click, get some sounds, and away you go. So the interface is very, very easy. Next, you hit your commit button up here, and the time record would come up telling you that a new hour has started. And much like the board game, it shows you which units are available and are in the chit pool. In this case, Union 1st Corps Cavalry, and there's the U.S. Combat Chit. Heath, the Confederate Combat Chit, and the Artillery Reserve. Now, I can't address exactly how it plays in the board game because, like I said, I don't have the game yet. I've only read the rules. So in the computer game here, you just hit continue, and this is the equivalent of the chit pick. So the computer randomly picks a chit. In this case, it picked the CSA Combat Chit. We'll hit continue, and there's no combat because, of course, the 2 brigades of Archer and Davis here are not adjacent to the Union. The 1st Corps Chit is now picked. We hit continue, and you see it's very easy. And there you go. You see the 1st Corps moving up the pike with some sounds. The computer has now picked the Confederate Artillery Reserve Chit. I don't know why it has this peculiar designation 14. Because we know that that's actually the 3rd Corps the Confederates. Not sure why they did that. Anyway, Up on the left comes the unit, which is Pegram. You can see he's down on the edge of the board here. And this is where it gets a bit awkward, because we've got Davis and Archer on the pike, but the next unit to move is actually Pegram. So he's going to be bottlenecked a little bit. I could put him behind Davis and Archer on the pike, or I could scoot him up ahead here into that little valley. But I'll play it safe. I'll just have them move in behind Davis and Archer. All we do is left click and the computer will take over. There we go. Okay, so we hit commit again, and it should pick. That says USA Combat. Now, we'll click on continue, and there is no combat because the Confederates were not close enough. We now pick, or the computer picks, the Heath Chit, and a bit of a pause there. Okay, now the brigades of Brockenborough and Pettigrew are available, and they appear at the edge of the board. And we can move any of Heath's brigades. You can also scroll, just pull the map down wherever you want. That's very handy. So we're approaching the Devon and Gamble. So I'm going to have Archer, let's see, go to any one of those little circle squares. I could plunge right in, and for the purposes of the video, that's what I'll do, because we want to see how combat works. I wouldn't normally do this, perhaps playing, but let's have him charge right in. Up he goes. Now, I'm not sure what these little 4s and 1s mean. I believe that the 4 means that that's the combat die rolls that it will use against Heath, or rather Archer. And Archer will have, I think, 1 roll against each one. I'm not sure what they mean, because there's no explanation. Now, we'll go to Davis. We'll do the same thing. Let's have him crash right into Devon there. There we go. See him moving up. Like I said, the interface is just beautiful in this game. Very well done. Let's move Pettigrew. He's a veteran brigade. Let's move him up to the Hers Tavern. Away he goes. And then we'll take Brockenborough and move him up behind Pettigrew. And you'll always get prompts. All of Heath's units have moved. So the only thing you have to do now is hit the commit button. So it's very intuitive. Let's see what happens when we hit commit. Okay, the cavalry chit is now picked, which means the AI can move Devon and Gamble. Okay, I didn't catch it on film there, but Devon and Gamble moved, and a new hour has started, and these formations await their orders. Let's see about combat here. Okay, we picked the Heath chit again, and now Heath can move. So let's move Pettigrew up and move Brockenborough up and have a full-scale assault here. Now that happens only when you pick the combat chit. Again, I don't know exactly how the computer is running things here, but let's hit the commit key, see what happens. The cavalry are screening. Okay. In the board game version, that means the cavalry can sort of retreat before combat, and I suppose that's what's happening here. Now, we notice that the combat chit has been picked, so now we'll probably see our first combat. Let's see what happens here. Here's Devon and Gamble moving. Okay, now this is an odd message. It says attacking units eligible for retreat. Well, because we're in the primary zone of Union units, we can actually retreat these units if we wish. Well, I don't want to. I want to engage with them. So I'll just hit the commit button here. And there's the combat. Okay, see a shattered unit. Davis fell back. And that was the result of the combat. So the computer, of course, does everything. Now, we have an option to advance our units. Now, you can see Pettigrew there. I could advance him. All you do is click on him, and it'll show the arrow we can advance. So let's be bold. We'll have Pettigrew charge right in there. Advances after combat. So you can see, in many respects, it is like the board game. So I'm very favorably impressed with this computer version, and I must admit it's rather addictive. You start playing it and it's pretty hard to stop. You know, playing along here, having fun, having a coffee, and then you look at your watch and you go, whoa, I've been at this thing for an hour and a half. So it's going to take you many hours to finish a game of Gettysburg, but it's rather enjoyable. Now, what I'm going to do is halt the video for a moment, go ahead till more units are on the board, and show you some of the things that can happen in the game. Some of the things that I'm not too happy with, and it's probably a function of the scale, because there's no stacking in this version of the game, of course. All the units are completely individual and occupy just one space at a time. So you can't have units on top of each other in this game. So let's pick up the video after I've put more units on the game, and we'll get to see how bombardments work. They're pretty cool. Right now we don't have very many artillery units on the board, just Caliph's battery. But once all the batteries come in, it gets pretty interesting. So let's pick up the action after I've got more units on the board. Okay, I've reloaded a game I had previously, and this in the game is turn 22 of a 31 turn game, which actually translates to July 2nd. You have this menu up here where you can get extra information. Shows you the time, 1600 to 1700, July 2nd. Victory status you can click on. And right now they say the Confederates have to conquer 2 objectives. We currently hold 5. U.S. victory have more VPs than the CSA. They have 383 U.S. and 472 Confederate. So the Confederates are currently winning the game. But here's some of the things that I'm a little disturbed about it. Because of the stacking, that is that there is no stacking, the units can get kind of wonky. And as you can see, the AI has put the Union in a funny kind of position. I've got my units scattered all over the place. There's holes in the line, which I'm not comfortable with. I don't really like that. So your game isn't necessarily going to look like the Battle of Gettysburg. But what I wanted to do is show you bombardments. Now I'll get to a bombardment, show you how cool they are. Okay, I'm trying to set up a big massive bombardment here so you can see how it works. But right now we're in the process of moving Rhodes Division. I might point out too that there's other little wee anomalies that you might not be used to with the game. Nearly every Gettysburg game that I've ever played always has all of the cavalry, Union and Confederate. But in this game, for the Confederates, they only give you the single brigade here of Jenkins. He arrived on the first day of the Battle of Gettysburg, and in the game here he's attached to Rhodes Division. So whenever Rhodes moves, we can move Jenkins. So I'll click on Jenkins here, and you can see how liberal the cavalry movement is. We'll just move Jenkins up here to guard our flank, and away you'll see him go. Like I said, the graphics are very well done in this game. Now I've got Iverson here, sort of trying to get the points for Little Round Top. I'll move him up to get him closer to the main battle line. I've got Daniel's brigade down here. We'll move him up. O'Neill up here. And there's the artillery of Rhodes Division. And we'll move up, let's say to here, so I can show you this big bombardment. So we'll pause the video until we get to the bombardment phase, and you'll see what I mean. Okay, we've got a 6th Corps chit pulled here, and I'll let the video run here to show you how the AI operates a corps. Let's just watch what happens. You can see it gets kind of bunched up there. And we'll watch the cavalry move too. Now we'll watch the Union 1st Corps move. Now, a general observation with all computer games, I don't find the AI particularly very good in computer games. A human is still better than a computer for board war games, I'm afraid. Now, this game can be played 2-player, and I think that's where the game will really shine. But let's get to that bombardment phase I was talking about. Okay, well, I don't have 100% control over this thing. The USA combat shit was pulled, so let's just see what happens, what the AI does with that, and I'll try to zoom in as close as I can. Well, as you can see, the AI did counterattack here and take some ground outside of Culp's Hill, and they've taken some ground on Cemetery Ridge. Oh, and they've driven the Confederate artillery from the Emmitsburg Road area. So you want to watch yourself when you have artillery in the front line. You'll be punished for it. Okay, just showing you this scene to show you one of the things I do not like about the game. The AI tends to bunch up a lot. You can see it's tenaciously trying to hold the victory hexes, and I mean, that's what it should do. That's fine. But the AI in computer games is not very good. Now I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and one of the things I don't like is all of the objective squares are on Cemetery Hill, all that, and they all have Confederate flags on them, whether the Union is on them or not, so that's a little disturbing. I'm used to, you know, when you've got Union control of a square, you've got a Union flag there, but these little Confederate flags never really go away. But you can see how bunched up the units are there, and it just doesn't look right. But we're still waiting for that bombardment because I have not picked the computer has not picked the Confederate bombardment shit yet. Okay, well, to keep things lively, let's do an attack here. We've got Johnson's division here. You can see that they're highlighted, and all you do is click on the brigade you want to move and move it where you want them to. So let's just do a frontal attack here on Hazard and Bartlett. So I'll go Stonewall. Oh, I guess they're already adjacent. Or is it night? Just a minute here. It won't let us close. Oh, yeah, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. So this is a night turn, so we can't do any combat. I'll zoom ahead here to July 3rd and try to show you that bombardment that we've been waiting for. As you can see, I've put a whole bunch of guns here all in line. And anyway, but let's get through these night turns, then we'll do a wrap on the video. Okay, one of the problems with the game too is that it does ignore the strategic situation. For example, I'm now on the evening of July 2nd, July 3rd. I've got the Confederates here, you know, south of Cemetery Ridge. They're blocking the Taneytown Road. They're across the Emmitsburg Road. They still have a secure line of communications to the south, but in theory they've cut off the Union Army. The Union is bunched around Cemetery Hill and isn't giving a care for the lines to the Baltimore Pike, Hanover Road, or Emmitsburg, Taneytown, that kind of thing. There's no strategic considerations. So the AI can do kind of, well, not very intelligent moves, as I pointed out before. Okay, we finally got to a turn where I can show you how the artillery works, and it's really intuitive. As you can see that these artillery units are all shaded. So all I do is select one, in this case there, and you hit the target. So let's do a big bombardment on Shaler's division. So you just left click, you've selected it. Then we'll take Carter, hit Shaler again. We'll pick Pegram, hit Shaler again. Pick Henry, Shaler, Lane, Shaler. Now when I hit that commitment key up here, we'll see the bombardment, and it'll be pretty awesome. It's kind of cool. You get sound effects and, you know, explosions, and I'll put the sound up a little bit here so you can see what I mean. But the interface is very intuitive, which is what I really like. So let's hit the commitment key and see what happens. And it says here 2 units are available to retreat before combat, but we will not. And we'll hit commit. You might have noticed in the reports that they give us damage reports. They're showing us retreats right now. And you'll also get disorganization points like the board game. So I think that gives you an idea of what the computer game is all about. I like it. It's a lot of fun. There's things I don't like about it. The AI certainly is not very aggressive. I think if I was the Union player here, I'd be counterattacking all over the place and destroy these Confederates. But the AI is playing pretty conservatively, holding on to these objective hexes. And points-wise, the Confederates are winning the game anyway, so they don't really have to. You see 414 points to 344. In this game, the Confederates are going to win. And it does look a little wonky, you know. I don't know. These units should be spread out. Now, when you play your game, you can spread your units out and make it look more like a battle line. That's what I tend to do in the game. But the AI doesn't always do that. So we'll go back to the main screen here and call it a day. So that's a little preview of the Battle Hymn Gettysburg computer version. And I'm hoping my board game version comes very soon. So that's it. Thank you for watching.